Today's subject is fear. There are two types of fear: the perceived irrational, spiders, ghosts, things that we consider as being, we're afraid of spiders, we're afraid of snakes. Yes, in Europe and the UK, the fear of spiders, we would say it's irrational. What are you worried about? You go to Australia and the fear of spiders is a completely different thing. It's an objective thing. And the other one is, part two, is the objective fear. The fear of heights, the fear of drowning, the fear of sliding down with an avalanche when you're crossing a snow slope. Now, there are two stories I can illustrate with this, the irrational fear. In California, we were hitchhiking, and first car that pulled up, they'd never picked up a hitchhiker ever before. And first thing that they asked us was, are you carrying? I didn't really know what they were talking about, straight off the top of my head. And the person I was with was an American, and he laughed and he says, no, we're hiking. We don't carry weapons. The biggest thing we've got is a tiny little pocket knife, and that's right at the bottom of our bag. And a bit later on, when we actually got in their car and they gave us a lift, we were talking about that, and I said, well, I'm English. I may talk you to death with the English language and try and bring you around to understanding what I'm trying to say to you, but we don't carry weapons. We don't see the need to carry weapons. And the second story is we were crossing some steep snow, and it was in the afternoon, so it was quite slushy. It was giving away under our feet, and I had micro spikes, which are like a lightweight crampon, and I also had a special trekking pole which you can attach like an ice axe head to it. It's called a whippet. So I was carrying that all the time I went through snow, and it was available for me to use at all times. My companions were carrying ice axes, but they were still attached to their packs as we were crossing over these steep sided snow slopes, which were unstable and although they did admit that they didn't know how to use an ice axe. So what they should have done really is learnt how to use it and then carried it in hand whilst they were crossing the snow slopes. They didn't do that. Fear. I was fearful for them, because we had slipped a few times and gone down on one knee. And if that would have happened on the snow slope, it would have been gone. It's said that we pack our fears. So if you're going to be walking through snowy patches, you need to make sure that you're taking crampons, snowshoes, an ice axe, whatever the conditions tell you to take, then you take. You don't want to be, in my opinion, you don't want to be hiking through deep, horrible, wet snow in training shoes. You need something more substantial. That'll take a crampon. You don't particularly need an ice axe, but you may need some sort of self-arrest, a little whippet that fits on the top of your walking pole. So, fear of people. First of all, look at fear of being on your own. Quite a lot of people are not comfortable with being on their own, doing solo, because every single noise, every single other person that they come across is a danger. Every dark night in the tent or in some sort of hut, hostel, bothy, whatever, is a danger. So they will probably be better off hiking in an intimate group. The other thing is fear of people. In the States, a lot of hikers are fearful of the individual that lives on trail. They take drugs, they're irrational, they may have mental health issues, they're perceived to carry weapons, whether they're knives, machetes, guns, whatever, and quite a lot of lone people that are inexperienced are fearful that they're going to get murdered in the beds. In the UK, that's not so much, but you just need to be careful around other people and use your experience to make sure that you keep yourself safe, especially if you're hitchhiking or the person that's around you doesn't look like a proper hiker. So, fear of animals. Now, I've mentioned this before, dogs, packs of dogs, certainly if they're working dogs, farm dogs, security dogs. Cows with bulls and calves in a field can be dangerous. Young cows in a group in a field can chase you around. So you just need to take it easy, try and work out the dynamics of the group and see what happens, and just be aware that you may need to bog out at any time. Snakes, bears, mountain lions, only if you're really hiking abroad. You just need to do some studying and work out the best way of dealing with an animal if it approaches you. Bugs, wasps, clegs, midges, mosquitoes. Learn the best way of living around them. You're never going to get rid of them. You just need to put up with them and move on. So, fear of the environment. Extreme cold, extreme wet, extreme wind. So you need to learn how to deal with these things. Either stop in your tent, in your sleeping bag, and wait it out, or make sure you've got plenty of warm clothing, good quality waterproofs, and a good windproof, and sort of manage it as you go along. You may need to stop and get out of that environment. Lightning can be very scary and very, very dangerous. Learn how to deal with it. The best way of getting yourself safe when you enter a lightning storm, which can happen at any time. Keep an eye on the weather forecast and be aware of what to do. Extreme heat. We don't normally get extreme heat in the UK, but when we do get it, it's usually 100 degrees, very dry. We're usually out in the mountains where there's been no water, so you need to be able to manage it. Shorter days, taking a day off, getting in the shade, starting very early in the morning, getting a lot of miles done, getting out of the sun during the heat of the day, and then maybe finishing it off a couple of hours on an evening when it's still light, but the sun's intensity is gone. Fear of fires. We are getting quite a lot of wildfires now in the UK and in Europe, and you need to be aware of that, be aware of the news, and make sure that you're not endangering yourself and others by being in that environment when you've no need to be. A fear of lack of water, lack of hydration. Learn how to work out how much water you're going to need for the day. You will know how many litres that you would normally drink in a day, how many litres you need for overnight, and how many litres you need for the next 5 miles in the morning. Work that out. And if it's extremely hot, you're probably going to need double that, and make sure that you've got capacity to carry it. And fear of the dark. If you've not spent much time in a tent on your own in the dark, you're going to be fearful of every single noise. So you just need to get over that fear by experience. So fear, homesickness, fear of leaving behind family, friends, loved ones, animals, fear of leaving them behind in pursuit of your dreams, leaving behind work, packing in work, saving money, packing it in, giving away your apartment, packing your rucksack, and off you go. So the fear of all of that, the fear of failure. You've left home, left work for 6 months. After a month, you decide it's not for you. Fear of failure. What do? Well, you either go back with your tail between your legs and you're big enough to deal with it, or you go sideways and go and do something different with the time that you have. Maybe go travelling rather than hiking, and spend the money in that way, and going back and go, yep, I had a really good time, I'm really glad that I did that. I just did it differently to what I thought I was going to do. Old injuries, fear of old injuries. So if you get plantar fasciitis, you got a dodgy knee, you get shin splints after so many hundreds of miles, you've got a dodgy back, you get headaches when it gets really hot. You need to be able to manage that. Don't overdo it, manage it. Coming back to it, keep getting disturbed by horse riders and cyclists and joggers. So yeah, it's managing old injuries, keeping an eye on stretching, making sure that you're doing the right thing, using trekking poles to alleviate any issues, not overdoing it in the first few weeks, letting your body get into it. Old age related infirmity, yeah. So as you get older, you can do less, and the terrain has got to be easier. Some people have kept their strength and fitness up, and they can still sort of carry on reasonably into older age, but most of us can't. So it's just a matter of managing that and making sure that you're not overdoing it and giving yourself medical problems or injuries. Talking about medical issues, if you have got some sort of medical issue and you're on medication, you need to make sure that you've got enough medication to get you through, and you can get a resupply, work all that out with your doctor, and make sure that they'll send on to you, or the people at home will send on to you your medication to a post office or a place that you stay in. So another fear I just thought about, for backpackers in particular, is fear of using the toilet outside, in the trees, in the bushes. Yep, it's if you're not used to it, it comes as a bit of a shock. But once you've done it a few times and you've worked out how you do it and where you do it, and make sure that you leave no trace, which is the big one, then you'll be comfortable doing it. But if you're outside doing your business in the woods, then you will have a fear of pooing your pants. But you're not a true through hiker till you've done that at least once. And believe me, I've done it more than once. just because of the diet and bad water and so on and so forth. But yeah, learn how to do it, leave no trace. We don't want tissue flowers everywhere and the stinking of poo around the trail. Just make sure you clean up properly and you use proper personal hygiene afterwards. And that also comes down to not sharing your food, not putting your fingers in somebody else's trail mix, because grab a handful of this. No, pour it out so you're not transferring bugs into their trail mix, and you're not picking up any bugs that they've had on their hands in their trail mix. Personal hygiene. It's a bit of a fear with some people, but once you've been ill, then you make sure that you're doing it correctly. Just wanted to add that. Right, so we've gone through a discussion of fear. So the next thing we're going to be talking about is control. How do we control these things? And that'll be in the next video. So until next time, happy hiking.